Maybe you've heard about it. Maybe you haven't. We're talking Jake Paul, Tyron Woodley, part D.
Was it really an upset
Bruh.
though?
What do you think about that? There's been a lot of controversy that Jake Paul kind of gave him the old signal like, hey, it's coming.
The fight was fixed.
And Woodley drops his hands. And then after the match, and the post-fight presser says, I don't know why I dropped my hands. I had my hands up. I don't know why I dropped them.
It was a fixed fight, bro. Plain and simple. When you watch the replay, and I watched the replay several times, two things happen. Like you said, he twists his hand like this to signal. If you notice, Tyron has both of his hands up, and then all of a sudden his hand drops. And not only that, as Jake is throwing his right hand to hit him, you can see him go like this, getting ready to get hit. And then after that, he drops. Come on, man. That's a fixed fucking fight.
He dropped like a bad habit, dog.
Like a sack of potatoes, bro.
Like a 10-pound bag of crap.
Mm-hmm.
A 5-pound bag. That's what he dropped like.
Was there any residual damage from him taking that hit?
What do you mean?
Like broken jaw, fractured jaw, like
no.
I mean,
broken orbital, or
he was here, and then he kind of rolled with it. He turned himself. I mean, he wasn't just going to stand static right there and take the hit. He saw it coming, and he just kind of turned. He kind of pivoted with it, and he took it. And the shot was there. And I mean, no hands to hold himself. His hands were down here, and he just Apollo Creed and Rocky IV is what it looked like.
It's supposed to be an exhibition.
It's supposed to be an exhibition.
Stop the fight. Stop the fight.
Look, man, as somebody that loves to watch boxing, as somebody that loves to watch boxing matches, you can clearly see that he forcibly dropped his hand. He literally
did
it on purpose.
His fighter instincts had him right here.
Yeah, he was right here.
Right here.
And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you just go. And then all of a sudden, come on, man.
As the right's coming.
Yeah, he turns his face like this. Like he's getting ready to get hit.
You can hear it in the fight, though, like in the corner of Jake Paul. As the fight's going on, his corner's telling him he's dropping his hand. He's dropping his hand. Like he thought Jake Paul was going to go to the body with it. Like he thought he was going to hit him in the ribs. So he dropped his hand like he was going to protect his side, and it just came right over the top. Now, I don't know how much body work Jake Paul had been doing, but I don't recall that much being done for him to want to drop his hands like that.
No.
And I called my 15-year-old from the room, and I was like, bro, come look at this. He saw the replay and was like, it's fixed, Dad. He said it. He was like, look how he drops his hands on purpose.
Now, let me ask you this. Who was winning the fight up until the 6th round?
I'd say Tyron had it, but it was close.
So what does Tyron get out of basically making a meme out of himself?
A Rolex and however much money they're going to pay him under the table.
Yep.
And plus whatever his purse was.
Do you think that would be worth it to him to throw a fight like that?
He's not fighting. He's not fighting in the UFC. He's not getting more paydays.
I understand that, but he is still a Hall of Fame fighter, and you still got to have some kind of fighter warrior mentality in you, right? Are you just doing it just for the money? Strictly just for the money.
It's the best payday he's ever gotten. He's never seen a payday like that in the UFC.
True. I mean, I mean, I don't know. I don't know the guy. I mean, I don't know if he would take that like that. I know for me, if I'm built different. If I'm there to fight, I'm there to fight you. Fuck taking a dive for whatever. I'm there to knock your head off. and I'm not going to agree to.
But there's
you
that.
knocking
We have
me
a
out.
prearranged agreement.
Yeah.
You don't know that they didn't, because he came in on 2 weeks' notice. That was supposed to be Tommy Fury taking that fight with Jake Paul.
Right. Yeah.
And Tommy Fury pulled out, and Jake Paul says, well, Tyron, we'll run it back. So it's 2 weeks' notice. And what do you think the odds are that there was a prearranged agreement if there was rumors circulating the first time? Now, keep in mind, that's coming from Dylan Donis, so take that with a grain of salt. But the rumor was, there was a clause in his contract that said he couldn't knock Jake Paul out.
I mean, if you look at the first fight, that would kind of make sense, because when he had him on the ropes, he didn't finish him.
Right. And that's what Dylan was saying. He was saying, hey, he pointed to that moment and said he had him on the ropes. He could have finished him, and he just kind of backed off, let him regain his composure.
I mean, natural reaction, you see someone
in a fight.
In a fight, you see someone weak, you're supposed to finish him.
Right. Especially as a UFC guy, you're programmed.
Yeah.
You're programmed to go for the kill at that point.
Right.
But
I don't know, man. It's all.
But that's all of those things that you guys just named. All of those key points that you pointed out. That's what tells you. That's the signification of that. It's not a real fight. It's all set up. Right. Everything is set up. That automatically tells you, like Jake said, he's a Hall of Famer in the UFC. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So if you have that killer mentality still,
well, he will be a Hall of Famer in the UFC.
But still, I mean, if you have that killer instinct as a fighter,
right?
If you see somebody wobbling, what are you going to do? Finish the fight.
Right.
It's done. It's over with. I'm going to finish this fight right now. That's it. Not back up and let me let you regain your composure, get back where you need to be, and all right, come on now, let's fight.
Right.
Nobody does that. So this fight was fixed, bro. Plain and simple. It was fixed. There ain't nothing real about that fight. Stephen A. Smith put it the best. He was like, I think I saw he was ranting about it on TikTok.
That'll be one of the few times on this podcast you ever hear those words come out of
real
on this podcast.
For real. And he did say it right, though. He said, he's fighting guys that are no longer, fighting real fights anymore and are just taking fights for money. They're not real boxers.
Right.
100% boxers that they know how to box. They're not that.
Right.
Put him in the ring with a real boxer.
Jake Paul has experience. He's trained to box.
Yeah.
He's a YouTuber, but he's had years of training to box.
Yeah.
Sure. That's fine. But
and if stories are to be believed, he's juiced.
You're an asshole.
And there's no testing done. There is no testing done.
Bro, both him and his brother are juiced. First and foremost. You can look at their bodies and tell that. Two, I've said this from the beginning, since this all started, this whole celebrity boxing, if you want to call it that. I guess they're YouTube celebrities, whatever. But I said from the very beginning that if he's gonna box, put him in there with a boxer, a real boxer.
Well, he tried. He was going for Tommy Fury.
No, I'm not talking about Tommy Fury.
Tommy Fury's a real boxer.
Bro,
he is actually.
I understand he's a real boxer, but if Canelo is calling you out, put him in there with Canelo.
Canelo's not calling him out. He's calling Canelo out.
He's calling Canelo out, but here's the thing. You want to all of a sudden jump to the elite of boxing? Bro, that is the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. And Canelo is going to look at him and go, why am I going to fight a clown?
Exactly.
I would pay to see that. And here's why. Here's why.
But that's the thing is that it's for Canelo, it's beneath him.
I understand
him is like picking a fight with somebody out in the street.
Right.
Why the hell would he do that?
I get it, but think about the payday.
What
Think
did
about the payday.
Canelo tell Andre?
Payday.
You want payday. You want payday. No, Canelo don't. Hey,
He ain't interested in that.
Canelo doesn't need anybody like that.
No.
I
Jake Paul.
want to see it.
I don't know if
For
it's
the
been
simple
confirmed yet
fact-
or not, but I heard that there was a rumor that supposedly Logan Paul had signed a deal to fight Tyson in February.
I heard
Mike
that.
Tyson.
I heard
about that. I don't know if it's confirmed yet or not, but I want to see that. Now he fought Floyd.
It's the same thing then.
That's why Tyson is beyond his prime.
Right. Tyson's been out of the game.
Yep.
He's not bad like Holyfield was, because that Holyfield celebrity boxing stunt was atrocious.
Did y'all not watch Tyson versus Jones?
Yeah.
I know we all watched that shit.
Yeah.
Tyson he's not too far beyond his prime.
He's in his 50s, fam.
That don't mean shit. That man still has power.
No, of course he does. And look, I'm not disagreeing with you, Jay. He does. I've seen his workout videos. I've seen all his training sessions. The dude is bad. He still got moves. He still has power. He still has all that. Now, how well is he going to go up against what? I don't even know how old Logan Paul or Jake Paul is. They're like in their 20s, right? Something like that.
Late 20s, early 30s. I don't know.
Early 30s, something like that at best. So, yeah, you're fighting a 50-year-old man, but still, if you were to ask me, you want to get in the ring with Tyson right now and take a punch? Hell no. I'm not doing that crazy shit. I ain't stupid like that. I'm not a retard. But damn.
Sir, you can't say that on the podcast, sir.
Why not?
Sir.
Because once you take a hit from him, that's how you're going to end up.
I lied. Logan Paul is 26.
26?
He is 26. That makes Jake Paul, according to my research,
like 23.
24.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if that fight's for real, I want to see how that pans out, because right now, the thing that Logan Paul has over his brother, I guess, is they were doing some sort of interview here recently on one of their podcasts, and Jake Paul was like, well, I've done this and I've done that. I deserve a shot with somebody that's good and this and that and the other. He goes, I've had my best year. What have you done? And the way that Logan Paul shut him up was, I fought Floyd Mayweather.
Right.
So who the hell have you fought? I fought Floyd Mayweather.
He's fought a boxer.
He actually fought a boxer.
Now,
considered one of the all-time greats.
He was, again, a guy that's out of his prime.
Mm-hmm.
He's in retirement. A guy that's
right. So why not choose someone that is in their prime?
Because
at the top of their game.
There's levels to it.
I don't want levels. I don't want levels.
To an amateur fighting seasoned veteran.
I don't want levels. I want a bloodbath. That's what I want.
That's what I'm about to say. Jay wants to see somebody get his ass whooped.
I want a bloodbath. I want someone to go in there and shut these kids up and let them understand that you can't play. You can't play with this shit.
You can't play boxing?
No, you can't.
Bro, that's like the equivalent of you put the 90s Dallas Cowboys offensive line against a Pee Wee League defensive line.
Yeah.
And you're just like, all right, guys, we're going full speed.
Good luck.
Speed, guys.
Yep.
Road grader right there. So, yeah, man, that was an interesting fight, to say the least. And Jake Paul notches another W in his belt. Tyron Woodley walks away with another paycheck and a Rolex.
Congrats to him.
And
I guess
life goes on. So, last little question before we move on to Washington football team versus Dallas Cowboys. How much money would it take for you to put your pride as a fighter aside and say, I'll take a dive for this guy?
I couldn't do it. Unless it's like in the hundreds of millions.
They're not even generating that kind of money.
Then I couldn't do it. If my name was Hall of Fame worthy and you're asking me to take a fake nap for somebody that's not even an athlete, a real, I guess he's an athlete because he trains for boxing, but you know what I'm saying? Like he's not
He's not bona fide.
Yeah, he's not the caliber. He hadn't won any championships. He hadn't beat a real professional boxer yet. He's beat Nate Robinson,
Ben Askren,
Bag of Milk, Ben Askren. Who else?
And Tyron Woodley.
I mean,
twice.
Really? No, I'm not taking a dive for you. Go fuck yourself.
I'm gonna have to agree with Jay on that one. Now, me just being a normal guy.
Keep in mind, the first fight, Woodley made $2 million. He never made $2 million for a fight anytime in the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So yeah, he's Hall of Fame UFC, but are they paying you them ducats to be a Hall of Famer in the UFC, a future Hall of Famer in the UFC?
But to some people, money is everything, right? But money is more than your pride. Money is more than.
That's what Floyd Mayweather's MO was. He cared more about the business side of boxing than the boxing side of boxing.
Yeah.
Not to say that he was a bad boxer, but the money and the business was priority.
That's why he went from being Pretty Boy Floyd.
So
if
Money
you remember, he went from being Pretty Boy Floyd, where he would break his hands almost every fight, to being Money Mayweather, and was really, really defensive.
But
I mean, that's a smart game.
But he also boxed.
Yeah, he
could box.
He won.
He still had skills.
Right.
He still had
hella skills.
He could still move and make you pissed off to the fact to where you're tired now, and all he has to do is piece you up any kind of way he wants to. Piece you up, and he's out of there.
Yep.
Or make it go to a decision. He had it in his hand, whatever he wanted to do to you. So
that's because his defense was so great. Towards the end of his career, his defense was so great. He could pick you apart just by bobbing, weaving, ducking, blocking, and then picking his counter shot. And like you said, he would pick you apart round per round and win every round that way.
Yep.
He would let you throw all the punches you wanted. I mean, we saw it whenever he fought Canelo.
Yep.
Canelo, at the time, he was still kind of young, still fresh. But he was throwing punches in bunches, trying to catch Floyd. And every time that he was trying to do that, he would use that Philly shell, roll, block, and then all of a sudden he'd just piece him up.
He got frustrated.
1, 2, 3, all in there. So it turned into a game of skill for him at a certain extent. So once he got to that point, I mean, he's making millions and millions of dollars on every single one of his fights. So why injure himself?
What I'm saying, just kind of bringing it back, is Tyron Woodley made $2 million the first go round. They're saying he's going to make $2 million plus this go round. Jake Paul walks away 5 the first round, 5 again this fight, at least. If you haven't made that kind of money, I mean, look at Conor McGregor. Just to put it in a better example, he stepped out of his comfort zone into a fight that everybody knew he was going to lose. But what do you pay for? You pay for the opportunity to hope you see some kind of history in Mayweather getting beat up.
Mm-hmm.
And what do? You market the fight that way. And that made Conor McGregor so much more money than he'd ever seen in the UFC. That's why these UFC guys are taking these fights, because it's the money.
Correct. But your question was, would you take a dive?
Right.
He didn't take a dive. He actually went in there and tried to hurt Floyd a couple of times.
Right. But I still consider it almost a dive to go into somebody's sport that you've never practiced in, and you're saying, okay, I'm gonna out professional you at your own game.
Especially
you might as well be taking a dive.
I think especially when you take that factor, I love the way that Joe brought that up, is that you coming from a sport where you practice it some to a certain extent on your end, but you're not a professional by any sense of the word in boxing. Yeah, you know how to throw hands, you know how to defend yourself, but not on the same level or caliber. Like we've been saying, there's levels to this game.
You don't
Canelo
know
says it all the time.
Science.
There's levels to this. And if you're not at a certain level, then trust me, you have no business being in the ring with an actual boxer that's at an elite level. You have no business.
So again, Canelo versus Paul, set it up.
Julio,
Set it up.
You wouldn't take it. You wouldn't take the dive. Or let me rephrase it. Not take the dive, but you pretty much know, or if there's a pre-arranged agreement that says, "Hey, Julio, we're gonna go into this. You can't knock me out."
Okay, well, to answer that question, if I'm a professional boxer, elite boxer, I've made it to the top, will I soil my name to throw a fight? No. I don't care how much money is involved.
You're Tyron Woodley. You have no boxing experience. You're a wrestler. Tyron Woodley's a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
And you've never made that kind of money in your career.
Then yes, I would.
Fantastic. Because I would do the same thing. I'd be like, you know what? Shit. I don't know if I'd be like, I feel comfortable with you knocking me out, but maybe it's one of those things where he's like, hey, I've experienced it before. It ain't that big of a deal. Just turn my lights off and we'll call it. I don't know, bro. I'm not in that position, but for $2 million, I might let Jake Paul, wax me one time.
Back the goddamn shit.